Hello and welcome to another episode of All Things Money. I'm your host Fatima Attarwala and my guest today is Rashid B, the General Manager of Novo Nordisk, Pakistan. Hello, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Fatima.
Absolute pleasure. While we were off camera, you were telling me a very inspirational journey about how you started and how you've ended up as a general manager of one of the stronger pharmaceutical companies in the world in Pakistan.
Yeah, Fatima is probably maybe the rare, but it's not, of course, not an impossible. They're coming back from a very lower middle class, born in a very small village, and then started working in a very small city, and having not in so strong universities and the degrees, and jumped into the by chance into this profession. So I think that's probably the maybe the learning for the maybe the 80-90% of the youth. They see that they do not have any lot of resources or the background. So probably if they are ambitious, if they are honest, if they are dedicated and committed, I'm sure they can follow their ambition. And there are the many ways they can achieve their targets as well. So just like myself, I came into by chance. Just like what is this pharmaceutical? And the person like me, whose hobby was traveling and talking to the new people, when I jumped into this pharmaceutical, I joined multinational, and then they sent me training to the Karachi from Sialkot, and then that was the first my plight in my whole life by air. So that was a quite interesting and inspiring. And then I learned within a very short span of time that this my hobby is now paid by somebody else. Like traveling and everything is paid. Like you have a salary, you have TAD, you have meal expenses, and then of course talking to the new people every day. So that is how I started this journey. But how this my job became my passion, because I started enjoying it. I never felt that my job is just a job. Every day, still now, I enjoy it every single day. And this is how these companies really invested onto the people and development. And this is how I got an opportunity to learn from many good mentors, many good trainings, a lot of good platform, learn by experience, and then Alhamdulillah reach out to the one of the leading multinational in the world, and I'm leading now this multinational in Pakistan since last 10 years. So
Mashallah. I think what you said is very revealing. There's a very family owned business atmosphere in Pakistan. That's the ecosystem, and that makes sense. But it's only in MNCs that somebody who is driving around in a bike and being a sales rep can have the journey that you have had from there to becoming a general manager. I think that's what the whole MNC culture as well about mentoring and grooming. But there has been an MNC exodus, especially in the pharma sector, where, like, as you mentioned earlier off the camera, that 80% of the pharmaceutical industry in Pakistan is local and only 20% is MNCs. So, why? Why did that happen? Why did so many pharmaceuticals exit?
yeah, I'm sure everybody know that from a recent part or from the last 4 5 years, significant numbers of multinational actually exited from Pakistan, which is very unfortunate for the Pakistan. So there may be the multiple reason for that. Every single company have their own model to operate, and they have another business models as well. But at the same time, I think it's in a more of our responsibility that how the state should have to look into that. Why these are leaving Pakistan? What is the impact on our society? What is the impact on our economy? I think that's in a huge. So I think it's in a time to think about it. We had in a couple of platforms that we are also raising our voice to the government, to the state as well. They should realize, and they are listening now. Why is that? I'm saying is that because if the all the multinational, it used to be like in 60s. I remember from of my mentor. There are all the multinational used to have in a manufacturing plants in Pakistan versus India when we got separated.
This is the 1960s.
It's around 60s, yeah, 50s and 60s. Well, and then gradually, if we compare right now where we are standing and the where the India is now, is in a huge difference. I can quote some of the numbers as well. But at the same time, when we see like when I joined pharmaceutical, we used to have more than 35, 40 multinational operating in Pakistan. But right now, we less very few who are the pure innovators right now. It's not only that this population is going away from a more innovation, like whosoever research and development, new molecules are coming. So it will not come to Pakistan for the people of Pakistan. They will not have an opportunity to buy those products and make their life more healthy or comfortable, even with their disease. Rather, it will not be bringing more technology to Pakistan because they will not be operating. It will not be an opportunity to bring in a more investment in Pakistan, which is also a setback for economy. And then at the same time, the most important worry thing is in a human resource, which means that they will, if they will be not existing, they will not be investing onto the people capacity building as well. So just like I shared my story, I think that's one of the key learning that I used to work. I always work in a multinational. So right from the grassroots level, I got in such an environment and opportunities that I put myself into the right direction. They supported me a lot, and all these learnings and education and mentorship and all the training that I'm now leading the one of the multinational. So I think that I'm not saying local pharmaceutical are not investing onto the capacity building of their employed. But when the multinational come, they come with all the research work. They come with all these finding that how each and every profile need in a separate kind of support so they can accelerate with all their strength and the weaknesses.
So that is one very important factor, capacity building, R&D, not just investment. But then we have the strong local pharmaceutical companies that you mentioned, and then we have the whole informal market. Some very high estimates say that 50% of the market is informal. Perhaps that's too high a number, but like in Karachi, we have Kachi Gali, I'm sure there are other areas. So how big do you think is the informal, spurious, fake medicine market in Pakistan?
Yeah, I think it's not being in a like in a pharmaceutical. I think being in a human. I think it's a time to worry on. To be very honest, because nobody takes the medicine by like in a choice. Like they want to take in a medicine. Every time when you take in a medicine, it means that you have some problem, and if you're not getting in a um, the better quality or the safest or the efficacious medicine, then probably it means that you are compromising on that with your disease, and the disease get more worse on that. So you're absolutely right. I don't have to be very honest, accurate number because there's no resource to get an accurate number how much the spurious or the counterfeit products are in Pakistan. But I think the best responsibility comes to the state and to the drug regulatory authority. They have a good infrastructure, good resources into the all these markets that you are talking about, and I think they can have a more strong, stringent check and balance to see why these medicine are not being manufactured as per the standard rules and regulation. Because I believe on that, it's not like in a tissue paper. If it's not working, I can use two. It is in a medicine. It goes inside the human body. It will have an action and reaction. And who's responsible for that? If the ingredients are not tested or not composited as per the requirement, then it will have a lot of impact in the human body. Is sooner or later that will have consequences. So I think this isn't a time to worry, not as a pharmaceutical, as a human. I think we should take this priority to provide our medicine best of their efficacy and the safety. So the people, because this is, and why pharmaceutical is a highly regulated industry in the world, because this is directly related to the human life. So regulated, when I say regulated means there are lot many don'ts that we cannot do in the market while marketing the product, and there are very small do's that we can do within our domain. The only thing that there should not be any advertisement, should not be any publicity of our brand, because the people should not start having a self medication. That's not safe for them. It has to be prescribed by the certified healthcare professional, and then patient should who really required that medicine, they should be getting through these process. Otherwise, it's completely prohibited, and that's why it's a highly regulated. And that is the reason probably we see the regulation all over the world, and in Pakistan are very stringent. But I think they require a little bit of a more stringent checks and balance to see the why these kind of medicines still available in Pakistan.
Absolutely. We might have stringent regulations, but the implementation. I mean, there's so many stories in which somebody goes to the clinic, there's a compounder outside, he's making powder, and he just says, "Hey, take this powder, take this pill," and you don't really know, you have no brand name, you're just taking it because the compounder said it and the doctor said it. So, and as you pointed out correctly, all over the world, there are very stringent regulations. Which is, I think, one of the perhaps the challenges that multinationals are facing in Pakistan, because as you are Novo Nordisk, you have to follow the regulations of your parent company, but perhaps a domestic company, a local company might not follow such high regulatory requirements.
Yeah, that's the dual side that we need to. When we work in a multinational, we do have our ways of working, and we do have ways of working in the same affiliate as well. And the principle is to you need to follow which one is the most stringent. So whatever is in a global or is in a local affiliate, which one is a stringent, we will follow that. So that's I think that the right way to do it. This is a pure humanity, I would say, because we don't bypass any kind of things on that. And that's probably the reason that we had whenever we launch any product, it is always backed by the pure quality control and with all the research and development and the clinical trial and evidences as well. So how many thousand patient has been tried? These all the products that we are marketing, of course, all the multinational, they do have a certified or the approved by some higher authority like an FDA, EMEA, which is a European Union, or the local bodies as well. So that is how it comes to the market for the use of the patient. For local pharma also follow the same things as well. But when it comes to like in a generic, then probably then it's in a drug regulatory authority responsibility to see they have followed their all the processes and they got registered and then allow them to market those products as well.
But for the companies who are not following it, it's not a level playing field for you. So wouldn't that affect your profitability, your margins?
Yes, is a equal playing field is a question mark which has been discussed with the government,
Hmm.
and it's not in a too much in a difficult situation right now. We have seen quite a few local pharmaceutical are really investing on their quality of their medicine, which is a very good sign, and that is probably the reason that the export of pharmaceutical has been increased over the last 1 year, which is a very good sign. But still, I would say there's a long way to go. I think we should invest more onto the local research and development, clinical trial to bring those medicine onto the quality level that we can even compete onto the global level as well.
You're right. We had record pharmaceutical exports, almost 500 million. That's a 35% growth in FY25. So much so that the government has a 30 billion pharmaceutical export goal for 2030. Do you think that's practical?
If it's coming from the government, I'm sure they must have done some homework on that, or they some must have set some roadmap as well. If you look into the data and to the history, looks like very challenging,
Mm.
but not impossible. And I'm sure the only one thing they can help to export is if they can come up to the par to qualify from all these global like FD and EMEA level, then probably they will be having a huge market. Just like in India and Pakistan, we separated, I think, like 70 years ago. And right now, we are not even in a 1 billion. We have not crossed on export, but they have pharmaceutical export of more than $300 billion,
Wow.
which is almost
More than 300 times ours.
intent.
Oh,
So, which is
600
which
times.
means they had a very strong control. They have qualified all their international standard, and that is why. Just like I was been going through this in a U.S. tariffs, and out of that, I have seen there's a $10 billion. The India is only exporting to the U.S.
$10 billion.
If this is such a high ratio that you are either it's a product or the API you're exporting to the user, that means you have completed all these stringent processes and you have get it approved from all these higher authorities like an FDA, and that's why you qualify to for
So
market.
India has a $10 billion export of pharmaceuticals to USA. That's just one market in one country versus our 500 million.
Yeah.
Right. But then I think a lot of our active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs that are raw materials, that too is imported from India because India is such a big. So when there's hostility between the two countries is always a problem, I'm assuming, for the pharma
Mhm.
sector.
I think being a Pakistani, apart from the multinational, I think that this is one of the biggest challenge that we are facing in pharmaceutical in Pakistan. And I must say that even the pharmaceutical and to the government should support this thing to generate our own API, which is an active pharmaceutical ingredient in Pakistan, because we are relying majority onto the China and to the India. So I think we should be self-sufficient. If once we will be self-sufficient, then we will be in a much better position to even having in a more quality export to the many other countries as well.
What are the barriers for for manufacturing local APIs?
That's more of a technical kind of a question, because just like I can only quote about my product because I had a little bit of knowledge. Just like we are the major supplier of the insulin in the world and even in Pakistan as well. So insulin is now is a recombinant technology. It's not like a conventional kind of a manufacturing plant that you can generate it. So recombinant technology, when it comes, it is in a very specialized plant. They can generate the insulin, which will be equally good, just like a human natural insulin. So when it comes to the laws, I think that should be the some focus area. The government and the pharmaceutical should think about it. You get some support from the government. They should invest more on that locally to have a more like a more updated kind of manufacturing plants in Pakistan, even of the pharmaceutical. Then probably they will be able to generate. And then when it comes to the API, I think we should also highly focus on to the clinical trials even in Pakistan. Clinical trials comes only where you test your products through in a proper channel. Clinical trial is not like, and I have 500 patient on my product and there's no side effect. It's not like that. Clinical trial have their own protocol. They have all the checkpoints throughout their journey, and we have a large population. We have a huge number of patients. Just like in many of the multinational, I have seen the clinical trial. India is part of the each and every clinical trial. Vietnam is a part of that. Bangladesh, so why not the Pakistan should also be the part of these clinical trials? So as a multinational, our responsibility is include Pakistan also in those trials. But I think that locally they should also start having a clinical trial in Pakistan as well, and they are working on it. I think they have a few successes as well, but still we are far behind than India.
If Pakistan is part of clinical trials, how does that help the country? So, would those medicines be better suited to to our specific? I don't know. For example, we have a very high rate of diabetes in the world. So, would those medicines be better suited to us, to Southeast Asians?
Yeah, exactly. So I think the very good question, because when these trials come, like another trial is in a European or maybe the US
Mm.
population, so how this formulation or this product behave in their population? Just like I can give you, because we are not very much in obesity right now. In our population, when you see the obesity, it always come on to this our waist. Whatever the fat we take, it comes to over here. But if you go to the Europe, their fat is spread all over the body. So when they use in a one product, so it definitely will affect somewhere else. It when we use in our Pakistan population, then of course it have a different composition on that. So the clinical trial benefit is that we will have an evidence which formulation, what dosage is a more appropriate for our population, how this drug behaved in our population, what are the indication, what are the contraindication. I think that will be really, really helpful to cater our population.
Absolutely. We talk about affordability and we talk about how the lower income groups are not able to afford. But in this, even the most elite cannot access medicine that is attuned to their bodies because it just doesn't exist because Pakistan is not part of those clinical trials. Right. So the entire country is being discriminated against because we're not advanced enough and we have perhaps not been very successful in retaining our MNCs or being very relevant to the international market.
Yeah, that's true. But I think the when the multinational comes or maybe operate, I can give you maybe for the viewer the very layman kind of an example as well, because I belong to a very small town. I have seen from the last 40 years the public transport, even in a Karachi, maybe after 20 or 30 years earlier, you have seen the public transport, very conventional kind of buses they used to have to travel on that. These were open, very risky, the rash driving. You remember when the Daiwo came in Pakistan, and this now altogether, whole transportation system has been changed now. Just because there wasn't a one innovation and the leader was there, and you can go and see on a GT road, because I love driving. I used to drive, I still drive a lot onto the GT road on myself, and I have seen plenty of the good quality of the buses. And I travel sometime onto the bus as well just to have enough fun on that. But they have a luxury buses now. So why they came? Because the technology came, some the knowledge came, and they also shown the profitability as well. Like in a Lahore to Islamabad, there was a ticket of like maybe 100 rupees. It used to be. Now they have 500 rupees, and they provided them the more facilities on that. Just like in a very basic example, never have ever thought about to send my daughter maybe 30 years ago on a public transport from Lahore to Karachi. Now it is a divo, and I can very safely and confidently can send that. So I suggest and leave an example to show the how this research work, this technology, innovation, services and support comes to the country. And this is how the local industry comes up onto the level. And that's, and I think the beauty of the multinational. And I think the government should have to realize it, that how they can uh, first the I think should be, the task should be to how they can stop a multinational not going from Pakistan.
Mhm.
And secondly, I think should be the task that how they can bring back those multinational to Pakistan, because this is the fifth largest population, and the market is there when there's the humans.
Mhm.
So we are the fifth largest population. We can sell anything. So this is a more attraction for multinational, along with local companies as well. They can come. They can help to the local industry to come up as well.
So, as the general manager of a multinational, what can the government do to make sure that you continue to operate in Pakistan and that others follow suit?
Yeah, we had in a lot of meetings, and I think I can tell you that the revolution and the change is coming now into the government, into the health sector as well. Just like a DRAP has taken in a very good initiative and bringing in a more digitalization into that. That has never happened. I can give you a very good example of this new department started by the government of the SIFC. So they have taken in a very bold steps to resolve the long pending issues of the pricing in pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical pricing was a very stringent process to get it approved by the lot many
Mm.
processes, and then they have decontrolled the pricing, because if you cannot afford to manufacture in any product in Pakistan, how can you sell it? So how can the life saving drugs will be available for the Pakistan? For example, uh, 30 years ago, there was a one bottle of maybe syrup or the tablet, whatever was the cost. Just suppose it was like 100 rupees, and now the currency has been depreciated from the last 6 to 7 years, 40-50%. That means that cost has been gone to almost 200 rupees. You cannot sell the same price when you are buying and purchasing the raw material manufacturing at the cost of 100 rupees only. So whatever the business these federations do is they start manufacturing. Of course, they can't manage it. They can't manufacture at the cost of the loss. So that the government has realized now, and the SAFC played a very good role. They have decontrolled the medicine in Pakistan, and that is why now we had I'm sure you might have seen a lot of shortages of the product a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
These were very much essential for the people of Pakistan, and I think that's had been a good steps are coming now. Government has realized. This drug regulatory authority has realized it. They are coming up with a very good initiative, which is very good for the these people of Pakistan now.
But the conundrum always was that if we allow the prices to rise, let's say people are not able to afford medicine, it will become even more unaffordable. And obviously, the pharma sectors, be that as it may, we cannot import at these high rates, make the medicine, sell it. It makes more sense for us to leave than to sell it. So there is always this dilemma.
I think it's $1 million dilemma, which is a good opportunity to explain from my point of
Mhm.
view. Maybe it get labeled that I'm from multinational, but I'm not. I'm talking like in a Pakistani right now. Sustainability means you cannot sustain anything which is not self-sufficient. If you are selling something onto the loss, you cannot maintain that. Only can do in a philanthropy. You're getting some aid on that,
Mhm.
and you can manufacture and you can supply on a maybe the low rates as well. If you want to continue within a philanthropy or the support from any aid, then you need to generate the some profit out of that so that you can continue. That's a law of nature and the law of the business as well. So the most important thing comes to that in our mindset, to be very honest. And that I have observed over the last 25 years very closely, even in my family, my community, that whenever we comes to the health, we are very casual. Never had a priority on health. For example, I can spend maybe 2-3 lakh rupees on my dress for a wedding, but when it comes to 5,000 rupees to go and get a consultation from a doctor to check, I say, oh, doctor, it's too costly. Can I get a half fees on that? And that I have seen from my own eyes as well. So when it comes to the health, we never prioritize as a nation. I think that's the biggest dilemma. Am I good in traveling in a big land cruiser, and I can't eat and I can't walk? Am I living in a good life? Or I can walk very easily, I can eat and anything, I don't have any cruiser.
Mhm.
Which one life is a much better? And unfortunately, in our elite class, the first life it has been prioritized. They believe Land Cruiser or the big house or the big property is the real essence of life. It is actually not. When you go abroad, you learn it. You see that they don't have a lot of property, but they invest on themselves. So I think that's the biggest dilemma right now, and I can answer your question as well. Just like if and the prices increases are not too high, but only with the due apology about the media when they increase the hype, then the layman get so much uncertainty because that's in a breaking news. For example, one tablet is a 1 rupee and it becomes like in a 2 rupees, and the news will be like the prices have been increased of the pharmaceutical is 100%. It is 100%. This is true. But is there a 2 rupees no matter in Pakistan? That's a big question on the as compared to you spend. You just go to any restaurant to be very honest. Today is I think Thursday and tomorrow is Friday. Just go to any restaurant. And I can bet in Karachi you will not find a space. You will be in a waiting. Why they are spending? And 1000 rupees is a minimum kind of a thing. Just I can give you my example as well. We are selling an human insulin in Pakistan, which is costing to the patient around 1260 or 1300 rupees for a whole month insulin, which is in a quality world's class insulin for just 1300 rupees for a whole month for a one patient. As compared to, I don't think so, you will be able to buy one burger for a 1300 rupees, which is just for one time. So we don't compare the things. We only put blame onto the pharmaceutical. We don't put things on ourselves, which is my priority. It's my priority to have a more air conditioned or lavish kind of a life, or I prioritize myself as a healthier lifestyle. So I think this is a long way to go, but these are the opportunities to talk about these health issues. I think maybe sometime you can do some program on to these health priorities as well. So people should learn, people should understand what is important for me. And especially the age like me after 50 is the health is extremely because you are now going down. It's your responsibility how you can delay these complications. Complication has to come with the age. But we don't believe on that. We don't understand. We don't prepare ourselves. We are preparing my child go to US for the studies. My daughter should be having a lavish wedding or spend a lot of money on that. I should have a 3, 4 cars, vehicles at home or a big bungalow. No, it's not. It's useless for me.
I think perhaps the lack of attention towards health is one of the reasons why Pakistan has among the highest incidence of diabetes in the world. Like I think a quarter of our adult population has diabetes. Now, Novo Nordisk is one of the leading diabetes medicine pharmaceutical in the world. So, how important is Pakistan's market for Novo Nordisk internationally?
You are really spot on. It's very much linked to my previous talk on that. We are now number fourth now in diabetic population in the world. Which is 34.5 million diabetic population. And the more misery thing is that more than 50% even does not know they have a diabetes. So more dangerous for that. So we are every year, and the prevalence is 30%. And when it comes to the prevalence, we are the number one in the world. That means we are adding more population to the diabetic population every single year, which is a very dangerous. So we believe on that as a Novo Nordisk. Our purpose is very clear. Our business model is very clear. We have a three big responsibility. One is the financial responsibility. We do take care of our business. We earn the profit. We take that profit back to the research and development. We come back with a no more innovative molecule, just like in a GLP-1. We are number one again in the world. So that's a very new molecule which is helping now the millions of the patient now. And then we come to the second responsibility, environmental responsibility. Novo Nordisk believe on that we should not operate any machinery who should have any impact onto the environment because environment is a biggest challenge that we are facing right now in Pakistan, but it's a big challenge for the world in coming years as well. And third one, which is the more important and more close to my heart, is our social responsibility. We believe on that's a large population, we are earning profit, but at the same time, we are as a Pakistani as well. And we believe on that prevention is a much, much better than the cure on that. So we are also working a lot many campaigns and the projects on that just to let the aware of the people that how they can prevent themselves by getting into those 34 million population. They should
So,
not
Novo
get.
Nordisk is actively investing in Pakistan to raise awareness about
Yes,
diabetes and hence the importance of insulin in your medications.
exactly. So it's a bit of a controversial kind of a statement. We are selling in a medicine at the same time we are preventing them. But I tell you, it's in a huge population. I think it's in a our prime responsibility. And Novo Nordisk, actually, the history of more than 100 years is basically based on to the humanity, on a love story, that how this was been started the journey in 1923, when they actually invented that they went to the Toronto and brought that insulin for his wife, and then they started for the developing the insulin for the other people as well. So this is why we believe on our purpose. Our purpose is to have a yes, whosoever is suffering, we do have the best medication, best solution for their challenges, so they can live a normal life. But whosoever is not, they should have much awareness to avoid themselves and to protect themselves getting into that. Just like we had very strong partnership with Vaseem. He's a role model, Vaseem Akram is that, who is a diabetic from the last, I think, 27, 28 years, living in a very normal and healthy life. So this is how we actually take him to the different platform, that how he can motivate to the people. And the most common question people ask is, he can afford anything, so he can manage the diabetes very easily. And the right answer is not that he has a lot of money. Right answer is that he is well organized. And if you really want to avoid diabetes in your life, that does not need money. Rather, you need to save money. For example, if you are eating two chapatis, just eat one. If you are eating like 4 times a day, eat 2 times a day. If you are going by burning the petrol and going to take in a milk on bike, don't go by walk. So save money and secure yourself from diabetes as well. That's an awareness we are creating among to the public as well.
Fair enough. And diabetes is closely linked to obesity. Obesity, rather, is closely linked to diabetes. And we have a very obese population. GLP-1 medications are recent and they have taken the world by storm. So many of people have used, so many celebrities have used them to slim down. So are they available in Pakistan as well?
Yeah.
And if they are they affordable?
Yeah, they are very much available, and we are a pioneer in developing introducing this GLP-1 molecule, and is helping to now to the millions of the people all around the world, and it's available more than 50 countries now, and same as in Pakistan. And that is, I think, I would say the presence of the multinational is that if we have any innovation, latest molecule in the world, it will come to people of Pakistan if the multinational operating in Pakistan. So it came very immediately in Pakistan, that GLP-1, while the Novo Nordisk was already operating in Pakistan. So that's the reason. So affordable, yes, it's in a question mark, because still it's in a more innovative molecule. Still, they have their very limited kind of an access to the population. But obesity is, I think, the much bigger problem as compared to the diabetes in Pakistan. We used to say like diabetes is an root cause of many diseases, but we learned, which we know not is again the pioneer in treating and managing the obesity all over the world, that we learned obesity is an even far bigger problem of the world, and even in Pakistan. If we will be able to control or maybe manage the obesity in Pakistan, diabetes will be automatically controlled into that. So that's why the purpose and the focus is much larger now.
So you mentioned R&D and clinical trials. When GLP-1 molecule was discovered, it really impacted the bottom lines of the pharmaceutical companies that were able to produce the product. If Pakistan was part of clinical trials, if Pakistan had more R&D and Pakistan could get patents, then it could really boost the local pharmaceutical sector as well as our exports if we had such a patent. If we so h- how can that come about given the state of pharmaceutical sector in Pakistan?
Yeah, that is, I think, the focus area that I already explained. Probably, if you'll have in a research and development in Pakistan, or maybe at least, because we cannot aim very high.
Do companies have any incentive to develop, to research and develop in Pakistan, be it any sector, the textile sector, be it the pharmaceutical sector?
Uh, as far as my knowledge is concerned, still this in a very much, I think, the lackness into that. So they should get and what are the one of the biggest reason on that, the why we are not having so many support and access in Pakistan, because we need to establish the more predictability in our policies and implementation. So what actually these researchers, the investor, like to see that how much predictable we are in our market. So once they get in a predictability, and now this government is really focusing on, they are coming up with all their project which will be sustainable for at least 10 years. Doesn't matter whatever the government will come. So that's I think the good sign on that. It would haven't done much earlier probably, then we would have been in a very different situation right now. So predictability to give them and offer them is one of the biggest attraction for them. Then the clinical trial will come, then research and development will come, then manufacturing will come to Pakistan. So that's the only area that we need to work on that. But it's not an easy area to work by.
Means if we had R&D in clinical, we had medicine, we would have medicines more attuned to us. We would be able to have patents. We would be able to boost exports. We would be able to attract more FDI. I think so much rise on it. Yeah.
A lot on that. Even development of your people capacity building, which is also huge. Huge, right? Even you will be exporting your people from here, just like in Novo Nordisk, we have exported our talent into our headquarter, which is very quite often now because we do have any talent in Pakistan. And one of the biggest strength of this country, I personally like, is that more than 60% population is in a less than 30 years. What else in a nation need? The only
Capacity building so that the population gets jobs.
yeah, that's the only they need in a direction and some guidance, and they can do the wonder.
And a stronger economy so that there are jobs for employment goals. Great. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So this is really enlightening.
Thank you so much for having me.